Oh, hi. It's been so long since I've streamed directly from YouTube that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. It took me a second to kind of remember how to do it because I've been streaming from StreamYard. So, welcome, welcome. I see that there are a few people here, and I am so delighted. We're a little bit early, or I am a little early, like 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm just going to Actually, what I'm going to do is just center myself. You guys want to breathe with me. And I'm going to just go ahead and open the connection, open the portal for our celebration today and our space for expansion and connection, healing, insights, and whatever else needs to happen at this point. And I want to define our connection by what I see is like setting up the tent, and we're putting down the pegs for in the east, in the south, in the west, in the north, so that we have a beautiful space inside with which to gather. So, welcome everyone coming in. You're invited to breathe with me as I also invite in and acknowledge the light beings that are here with us today, the uh, energy of the voice that Ra Uru Hu had uh, channeled, had access to, and to the level at which we have access to the voice and the spirit of Ra Uru Hu. Although we won't be talking too much about the depths of human design, it's always good to have that presence. And we invite in our ancestors, our helpers, our guides, and the light beings that are our connection or bring through those higher, finer energies from our connection with Source. And of course, we open into our higher self connection and allow ourselves to be here in group, in energy, in love with each other. Whew. So thank you for being here. I think the chat is open. This is a YouTube only live stream. I've been, it's been a while since I've live streamed, so I'm so glad to see a few of you here. This is a great celebration of 3,000 YouTube subscribers. That's why it's YouTube only. And I'm also kind of experimenting to see if I actually need to have the have my StreamYard still. And we'll know when we figure out what the connection is. Oh, Pilot Project, Dorothy, hi. Welcome, welcome. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed to my channel over the last months, years. Those of you who continue to follow me, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have this feeling that for some reason that 3,000 is another one of those turning points. And I'm not quite sure what that brings energetically or via the the magic of the algorithm, but we'll see. We'll see. And if you're finding me for the first time or haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe so that you can we can continue to be in connection with each other. Also, tomorrow is my birthday. Yay! I usually downplay birth. Well, actually, every year I do something special online for my birthday. For those of you who are around and in my community, and I guess this is no different. I wasn't expecting to actually come on because I haven't really been inspired to do any sort of live streams or anything like that in the last few months. I've really been hunkering down and using some of this Saturn retrograde energy to get some of my foundation solidified for some of the upgrades and up levels in the way that my business works. And I believe that Saturn goes direct around the 15th of the month in astrology, the 15th of October. Astrologers let me know about that, but I feel we're coming to the end of that phase. So thank you for joining me for this celebration and for the pre-celebration of my birthday. I've got stuff planned tomorrow, so didn't want to do it tomorrow. And I've been kind of celebrating. I've actually been celebrating since my husband's birthday on the 16th. I have one little happy birthday cupcake left that I'm going to eat tomorrow from what we had from his birthday and moving forward into mine. All right. So our topic today is about sustaining a conscious shift. And if you see me looking down, I've got notes on the screen. I've got notes here. And I've got notes in me that will probably be coming out as well. So it's not that I don't want to see you. I wish I could see you through the screen. It's just that I want to make sure that I cover everything that's been or really bring through everything that's been coming in for me and for the people, all of you guys as well. So our topic is how to sustain a shift in consciousness that results in a shift in real tangible life. That's what I finally was able to articulate just in the last hour. And I put a thing out on the community page asking for some feedback, and in the email that I sent out. By the way, if you want to get all of the insider information, you need to be on my email list. I didn't put that. I forgot to put that in the description of this video, but I will. And if you're just sort of listening to me and and Googling at the same time, you can go to Sandy Freschi at FRESCHI.com. And there is at the bottom of every page, it says subscribe to the newsletter. You can subscribe there, and then you'll get all of the insider information that I send out periodically. So I did put this question up on the community page, and I sent it out to my email list. I digress there. Where in your life do you struggle to maintain, stabilize, or make the progress that you would like to make in your life? So some of the responses that I got were around weight and eating and digestion and struggling to maintain or stabilize a healthy weight or a weight or a feeling in the body even that that feels like you're healthy, that you're vital, all of that. So that was one. Struggles with income, that everybody, that's like the global what we think is the struggle, which really isn't. I just want to let you know that the struggles with the income are kind of like the symptom. The struggles with the weight and the physicality are kind of like the symptom. They are the symptom. Those things are the symptom. And the other thing I got is the struggles to get a new project off the ground. That's kind of goes hand in hand if you're in business with income in a certain sense, and struggles with navigating the energies on the planet. And I think this is where all of those high beings are going to come through and bring us something useful here, some useful guidance here for us today. So let me look at the chat here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Michael, yes, pilot project. Michael, our personal development pilot. I'm not sure where you're piloting to. Thank you. I'm doing the magic. Glad to be connected. Yes, glad to be connected with you all too. So it's your turn, Dorothy. You jumped the gun. The manifestor jumped the gun here. All of the above. All right. So I just want to just get you in the frame of mind, the frame of energy and focus for your input on this. So just take a deep breath and drop into your body, because I just want you to feel into what's going on with you and where you may be in this place where uh, maybe you've had some breakthroughs, and then now it's like I call it the 2 steps forward, 1 step back process. Now it's like you had the breakthrough, but the results haven't quite caught up. um, just drop into your body, take a deep breath, and think of an area in your life where you have had some kind of success, because this is where you're going to actually have the access to it, right? Where you've had success, satisfaction, or even some accomplishment, or you feel accomplished or have felt accomplished. But now you're like, you took those 2 steps forward, and now you're struggling to maintain what you had achieved or accomplished. And I'd love to know what that looks like or feels like for you. And go ahead and share that in the chat. And if you're watching this at a later date, feel free to share that in the comments. I'd really love to know what that looks like for you, and what it feels like. And what the struggle is. Dorothy's saying that she's got all of the above, the struggles with the physicality and the weight, and feeling healthy, and struggles with income, and struggles to get a new project off the ground, and struggles with navigating the energies of the planet. So yeah, and if you want to put in more input about what that feels like, I'd love to know. um, so yeah, we're going to hone this in a little bit and talk about 3 things that have come to me just in recently, in the last week or two, that I've really kind of dialed in on, that I can see that keep us. And I'm one of them too. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I've been stuck in patterns before. And these 3 things are the 3 things that were on the top of the list that I see that keep us in that 2 steps forward, 1 step back pattern, where we have breakthroughs and we're not able to sustain those changes. And for some reason, my phone is saying that it can't hear me. It shouldn't be hearing me. So we're going to get rid of that. Yeah. After all the trials and concepts, I finally guilt to a point where I get guilt. I'm not sure what you're saying, where I face my biggest success, accepting what is, what you be, without trying to push it. Acceptance is so important. It's like the first step. Wow, thank you. Thank you for putting that in there. Yeah, so before we move forward, I know probably you guys that are on the chat, you're probably subscribed, but I want to, I have a note here because I always forget. I want to remind you guys that if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a few more of these, I think, moving forward. And I also, want to invite you to go and subscribe to my newsletter, subscribe to my email list, because that's where you're going to get all of the insider information. I actually have a special coming up. Like, I'm topping off my birthday week with a final special that's coming out on my email list, or coming out in email in the next day or two. So if you're not on there, get on there, so that you can learn about that and discern whether or not that's for you. Actually, I have a couple things in the works, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be bringing both of them out. So in this time frame. But yeah, I always have things in the works. So yeah, if you want to be the first to know, get on the email list. Either go to the description box, sign up, or go to sandyfreshy.com and go where it says get my newsletter. All right, so onward. Three things. The three things that keep us in this 2 steps forward, 1 step back pattern, where we have this breakthrough and then we can't sustain the changes that we made. We feel like we can't move forward, all of that stuff. And then that results in feeling, depending on the area of life, feeling like we're always wavering with health and well-being. And I don't want to say weight, even though weight is like the out there thing, but yeah, weight sometimes is a symptom of that. Wavering with the income, wavering with wavering and being feeling like we're at the mercy of the energies on the planet. I want to share some big stuff about that with you today. So hold on, because we're getting there. But those three things: strategy and authority. You knew we weren't gonna skip that, right? Dialing in your frequency, that's number 2, to the right frequency band. And definitely want to share some things that have come in about that, and some things that may help you to understand that. And for those of you who feel like you're at the mercy of what's going on the planet, I was shown something very, very important that you need to be aware of. And I'm not sure what else we're going to do with that. We'll see. And number 3, okay, strategy and authority, number 1. Number 2, dialing into your frequency, dialing your frequency into the right frequency band. And number 3, which I took out and then I put back in, being afraid to face challenges and take a risk. So we're going to scratch the surface of this today and talk about these 3 things. And I'd love to have your comments and input as we go, how you see what I'm sharing, and anything that you feel is important to share and to have out there. Please do that. Yes. So Dorothy, you're saying, I see it on there. So internal breakthroughs, but as far as a new project, I let logistics and technicalities get in the way. Also indecision regarding direction. Oh my gosh, yes. Logistics and technicalities. I almost put on the list, like I had a long list. I had things like making things more complicated than they really need to be. I can't even remember what I had on the list. Indecision, that's like one of the major symptoms of what we're talking about, of not being able to sustain. It's actually a driver and a symptom. But indecision sometimes, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because I'll get distracted, but it is real. The struggle is real. And sometimes it's an illusion. So very cool that you've identified that. All right, so let's talk about them in order. Let's have some linearity to this. Strategy and authority. I don't have to tell you that's important. You guys who are human design enthusiasts, you know how important this is. And it's like the foundation of your vibrational alignment. And this is why, those of you who are here and those of you who are following me have probably found me in this channel, because that's a lot of what I talk about, is how important it is to follow your human design strategy and your decision-making authority, because it puts you in that place, as Michael said, to be in acceptance of the ride that you're taking through your life. Now, I recently put up a whole course on this, okay? Like this was like the lead up to where to my birthday. I took my 2018 beginner's course, and it's now up on this channel in a playlist for free. Please, if you're new to this, you just stumbled on this, maybe you found me through the algorithm and through human design, it's up there. Please go and just orient yourself to your chart, to what a strategy and authority even is, because this is the foundation for how you operate in this world. It is the illumination of your blueprint that fuels or explains your form consciousness, the form that we're in and how it operates in the world with other people. But that's only part of the story. Human design is so good at helping us to understand how we're naturally designed to interact with the world. Like, that strategy piece of waiting for an invitation, waiting to respond, informing before taking action, waiting 28 days, waiting a whole moon cycle, depending on what your your energy type is. That is so important. And then when you add and you understand that that's, like, for most of us, a precursor to being our own authority and really being in our bodies, to understand how our bodies speak to us in a way that is letting us know what decisions and what actions to take. Those two things are invaluable for living as a human being on this planet with other human beings. It's the foundation of being able to co-create with others with ease. And it also helps us to attune our resonance to so that we can sense and recognize correct timing for our actions, and who we're to take those actions with. Hi, Erica. Thank you for dropping by. It's good to see you. I didn't think you were going to make it. And so yeah, it's the foundation. It is just so important. But then there's like this underlying stuff, and this is when we start talking about dialing into your frequency. This is where it's really important for you to understand that you've got your blueprint. You're going to decondition over 7 years by working with your strategy and authority and really coming to trust it, right? Or at least experimenting with it to see if you can trust it. And then you're going to live that place of ease when you're interacting with others. You're going to meet with the people that you're here to meet with. But there's another aspect of your frequency, like we talk about in human design, how we have the magnetic monopole and all of this alignment and deconditioning and strategy and authority, and all of that is about staying in alignment and in awareness of who you are, so that your magnetic monopole and your G center puts you on the trajectory where you get to fulfill your purpose. The level at which you get to fulfill your purpose depends on the frequency that you're living, the frequency band that you're living in. And this is a huge topic, the frequency bands of consciousness. And I do not have any more notes on this page. I have no idea where they went. So let's just take that down and go to the trusty paper and talk about frequency bands, because this is so important. It just bothers me that I don't have that. Okay, I know I put it in there. Okay, so dialing into your frequency. I'm just going to stick this up here so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. Dialing into your frequency. You align, you dial in. You're in your human design experiment for that. But the way that you live have varying You can have it in varying different experiences. And for those of you who follow me, this is what has come through in the last few days. For those of you who follow me, you are at a point where you cannot afford to waver in your frequency band. It's like you're at a point where you actually need to up level the level of consciousness that you're operating from. And let me explain this, because and I'm not saying anything's wrong with you. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. I don't know if you can see this, but this is great book, Power versus Force. And I love the map of consciousness that he's got here in the middle. And in my meditations and in my Akashic record work, when I was bringing through all of this, I was literally guided to get that book off of the shelf and open it up to this. We have these frequency bands come in numbers, right? So up in the upper echelons, we've all had these experiences of the frequency or the level of consciousness that Dr. David Hawkins calls the 500 or above. 500 love at 500, joy at 540, peace at 600. Dorothy, pay attention, peace is at 600. And I'm sure that you've all had these, you've been there. We've all been at love, we've all been at joy, we've all been at peace, right? And we have that within our vibrational range. We've also we've also all probably had the experiences of the lower frequencies. And not that like 400 is like reason, which is actually where a lot of us enter into our human design experiment. When we are at reason, we are in that mental, that place where we want to mentally grasp things that are going to move us up into the 500 and above, the love and above, right? So you're studying your human design chart, you're living your experiment, you're in reason, you're in acceptance, which is at 350. So yeah, Michael, 350 is acceptance. It's pretty high vibration. Willingness is at 310. Neutrality is at 250. Courage is at 200. And then there are other bands from like 20 to 175. Shame, guilt, grief, fear, desire. And some people think, oh, desire is like a high vibrational thing or higher vibrational thing. And I'm interpreting this as like the cravings of desire, like addiction and things like that. Anger, pride. So, we've all been in there too, down in there. And if you're like someone who has had a lot of life experiences that didn't turn out, those of you who are line sixes and line threes, and maybe have a lot of those in your chart, or have just not had a lot of experience with living not in alignment with your design, there's shame around. There can be some shame, some guilt, some apathy, grief, fear, especially for those of us who are older and we were actually born into those frequencies. And in terms of fear being at like 100, right? That's kind of like where the whole mass consciousness is right now. It's at that frequency band of 100. So yeah, so we're all human. We all have that. And the idea here is that when you are in those lower bands, you're not able, when you have that within you, you're not able to rise up and sustain the higher bands. So this 2-step forward, 1-step back thing has to do with being able, getting up into the love, the joy, the peace, maybe even the enlightenment at times, and then not being able to sustain that because you've got somewhere down there shame, guilt, apathy, because there's lots of things that you have tried that didn't work. There are lots of things, lots of mishaps and things that have happened maybe to you, or as a result of choices, or your choices or someone else's choices. And this, okay, this is not going to make any sense. So let me explain it. See all of this down here? Shame, guilt, apathy, grief, craving of desire, anger, fear, pride. This is where that lower set point of mass consciousness is. It's just peeking up along like fear, cravings of desire, pride, those types of things. But it's not, but there's a lot of this dominant fear and below type of energy. Now here, this is you, okay? This is you. Like I was shown, like in my meditations, I was shown like all of these balls of light. Like we have all of these balls of light, like our cells and our DNA were represented in this meditation by these balls of light, and we're radiating that light out. But there's this stuff down here. We all have it. It's part of who we are as humans right here, right now on this planet. There's still some stuff down in there. And a lot of what who like to be in love, what we're reasonable people. We've come to great acceptance about where we are and how our life is going, and all of these things that open us up to, it's a building block for those higher vibrations of reason, of love, of joy, of peace. We want to get up there and stay up there because that's where the upper end of our energy is, our expression is, and our if you're in business or whatever, that's where the upper end of our people are. Like that's where you guys are. So, and it doesn't feel good to be down in like pride and anger and things, addictive distractions and fear and grief and apathy and guilt and shame and all of that stuff, right? So, there's the bypassing that happens. We want to meditate our way out of things. We think that, if we just know a little bit more about our chart, that's gonna help. We think that, and I'm not saying don't come for a reading if you don't understand your chart. It's still a big part of my livelihood. But I'm just saying, it's only going to get you to reason until you start putting it into practice and really working with your energy body to release this. Because what you want to do is get yourself up into a sustainable lower vibrational range. We always want to get up to the higher, but we have to raise the lower so that we raise the entire frequency band that we have access to. Right now on the planet is going through this. What this feels like to me is like magnetic lead. And I Googled it. Lead is not magnetic. So this is probably just a metaphor. Magnetic lead that resonates with collective consciousness. We cannot escape it because we are part of it, and we are part of this whole transmutation that is happening on the planet. If you can't stand to see the news because of all of the negativity that has pervaded the airwaves and the news, if if you don't like what you're seeing around you, if the people around you are depressed and they're sick and they're struggling, or if you hear of people who are doing or who are in those situations, they are part of this whole transmutational process where more light is coming in, not just to our cellular being and our DNA, right? But it's coming into the entire planet, and all of that stuff. Light is being shown on all of that stuff, and it's stirring it up, like a dust bowl. That's what I'm seeing. It's like a dust bowl of energy. And we've got some of that in us too, because we're here on the planet, right here, right now, in this place where, you know, we've got bodies just like everyone else. And even though we've been able to reach, go across the threshold and be in those places of our higher frequency, it's down here. We still have this down here that is resonating with the rest of the collective consciousness. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong or bad about that. But it feels as though the magnetism, the attraction of what is down in the bottom here. And by the way, when it's down in the bottom, this is light. This is light from higher source here, coming in, filling us up, wanting to fill us up, but it can't all the way because of this. And this is the process that we're in, collectively and individually. And it's the process that we're working with when we are concerned about getting over that threshold and getting past this 2 steps forward, 1 step back process that a lot of us are in. Black goo. Yeah. So if you're sensitive, if you've had a history of taking in other people's stuff or taking it on, some of us are, our auras take in projectors. Some of us take on. Some of us have a lot of open centers, undefined centers, and we're affected by it. We take it in and we amplify it, right? If you are one of those people, or if you just have a habit of internalizing what's out there, then instead of, ultimately, the idea is that this is attracted out of you. You release it. You drop the baggage, as my friend Amanda Young has told me. Drop the baggage and you get on the train to 500 or above, to love or above. This can be pulled out of you magnetically. But if you're somebody who has a habit of taking things on, who's really sensitive, it can be attracted into you as well. So we don't want that to happen, right? So I want you to be aware of that. Like, all of your energy practices, all of your purification practices, you really need to stick with it. And you really need to understand that you don't want to internalize that. But you also, as Michael had aptly put, want to accept where you are, what this is, and allow, through your visualizations, through your grounding, through your energy healing methods, allow yourself to just let that be attracted out of you, so that there's more space, more room within your light countenance for more light. So, think of this as like all of this wants to be up here in love and above. And this stuff down here isn't allowing the full measure of love, of the love and above experience, to be instilled within you. This is a process, and it's a process that actually has to do with risk. So let's see. Let me before I talk about risk, let me get to what's going on. Indecision. Okay, all topics you listed are relevant. Okay. Hi Bjorn, thank you for coming. Thank you. I saw your post wishing me a happy birthday and happy 3,000 subscribers. Yeah, Dorothy, you get it. Yeah. Yeah, you're working on it through human design and the gene keys. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is whatever your practice or your process is for working through what I just described in this image. Um, keep at it. Keep working with it. And I think we're going to open up at the end, and this is about the risk part. The risk is being, what did I say? Being the third thing that keeps us in this two steps forward, one step back pattern is being, what did I say? Somebody tell me what I said. I said being afraid to face challenges and take a risk. You know what? The reason I'm having so much trouble remembering that is because I have been really kind of risk averse in my life. And part of me coming on in this way and sort of shifting, and maybe it's not perceptible to you, but I am shifting into the upper end of my work. And I know some of you guys have been following me for a long time, and I keep saying that, right? I'm shifting into the upper end of my work. I'm doing more channeling work. But when I was guided to do this YouTube live stream, and I was guided to channel in public for people in public, um, I was stopped in my tracks. I'm really pretty good at like one-on-one getting into your energy field, uh, re, you know, bringing in the streams of consciousness that are available to us, and looking at your Akashic record, and really providing guidance from that level. And some of you have experienced that. I know those of you who are here, but this is scary. Taking this risk to be in public is a real risk to my reputation and to my algorithm on YouTube. So, algorithm being representative of my line 5 fear of being burned at the stake and risking my reputation. So, I want to just take a moment to just thank you guys for being here, because it's so important for me to take a risk, to face my challenges and take a risk that is going to bring more meaning to my life, more richness to what I offer to you and those like you, and more I don't know, a more expansive playing field, something that's way more fun than trying to play by uh, the rules, the so-called rules. And you know what I mean? Like, society has rules, families have rules, we have rules for ourselves. Some of you may be trying to follow the human design rules, even though it's about experimenting with some guidelines. I'm going to take a drink. So, risk is inherent in change. And if you want to sustain those higher frequency bands, you have to take the risk to get out of the lower ones that keep you in, trying things that don't work out, that bring about a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of obligation, all of that stuff, and that's what's going to make you more buoyant as you release that. Allow the collective, the magnetism, the resonance of that aspect that you have with collective consciousness, allow that to be pulled out of you, attracted out of you, so that it can go and be transmuted with the rest of what's happening on the planet. So being, taking the risk is so fundamental. Not doing what we've always done. And I'm reading notes here, so I could just be, see this? This is what I'm trying to communicate to you. Let's see. Uh, yeah, risking my reputation. Yeah, and a lot of times what's holding us back is like, um, it could be that line 5 thing for some of you that experience that risk of your reputation, but it's also about like the conditioning of the will center. And those of you who have taken the manifesting blueprint, um, not the manifesting blueprint, the that's another thing. Those of you that want to do the manifesting blueprint, I do those in your soul design reading, but I digress. The one that Dorothy took. Dorothy, what did you take last year? The deconditioning. Is it the deconditioning? It's been so long since I opened that up. I forgot what it's called. The deconditioning blueprint, I think. Thank you, Dorothy, for not burning me at the stake. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you who have taken that, you know that they're the deconditioning blueprint, or you've studied about your undefined centers and how you've been conditioned, you know that the will center is oh my gosh, it's like the place where the most damage is done. And I've looked at a lot of will centers and a lot of human design charts, and I'll tell you what, if you're undefined in the will center, you have a whole set of trauma around trying to live up to other people's expectations, feeling like you're not good enough, all of that. And if you have a defined will center, you may still actually have those traumas, but they're cemented in even harder because that aspect of you is fixed. And it is the hardest, it is the most challenging thing to decondition, because it really means that you have to accept that you are worthy because you exist, and that you don't have the things to prove that other people think you have to prove. Even if you have a defined will center, you're not here to prove things to others. You're here to prove out that you are worthy. You are here to see the worthiness and the value of the things in your life. So, the risk is like the risk of, if I risk this, if I do something that I've never done before, or that, I keep to myself, or if I, don't share my gifts. And a lot of you all have gifts, all of you here on the chat, you have gifts. Those who aren't chatting and you're watching, you have gifts. And people come to me all the time wanting to know what their gifts are. And then when I tell them, we look at their chart, we look at their soul design, and I tell them what their gifts are, or how I see them, a lot of them are like, oh, yeah, I know that. I know that. I know that. And, in that respect, you're getting the confirmation, the encouragement, the proof. When I hold the human design chart up, you got the picture to prove it, of who you are and what the value of what you have to offer to other people, and the detail of what that is. And yet a lot of people, I'm not saying you guys here on the chat, because we've worked together mostly, we work together, but a lot of people who are not getting to that higher range, raising their frequency band, are hiding their gifts because they're afraid to take the risk to do something different. So I just want to encourage you to reflect on that, to reflect on where you're trying to skirt around things, not face challenges, not face those those so-called not good feeling things in your life, where you know that you have a destiny with something, and you're not meeting that something so that you can fulfill your destiny. I just want to encourage you to um, really sit in the fear of taking the risk and examine what that risk actually is. Like, there are benefits to taking a risk, and there are downsides to taking a risk. And I want you to just feel into that. What are the benefits if I do this? And what's the downside? Who's not going to like it? Who's going to judge me? And what are the payoffs? There are lots of payoffs to not taking risks as well. And when you kind of tease that out, raise your frequency band. Work with your human design experiment. Continue to align. You're going to find that you have the courage, the capacity to move forward, to move up, to move out into the thing that is materializing with clarity. It's going to get clear, Dorothy. It's going to get clear. The thing that's materializing, the clarity that you're getting that's materializing the thing that you're stepping into. So it's no longer necessarily about leaping. It's about parting the seas. So I'm just feeling into this, and I'm feeling like stuff is coming through. So I'm just going to sit back. Dorothy, yes, congratulations for taking a risk. Still waiting to see if you're going to get burned at the stake. Well, if it was the right risk at the right time with the right people, you're definitely not going to get burned at the stake. All right, so I'm going to just tune in and ask for the guidance and the energy of that's being shown into this space that we have opened up here today from Source. So the space, the energy that's coming from Source, that's infusing our space, that's really wanting to get into the little balls of light. I'm just going to ask for it to come in. And as I'm doing this, just breathe in, take in that visual that I showed you of the ball of light with the light coming in. And intend that the sludge at the bottom is that magnetic sludge, that it's reversing, so that you're able to sort of let that be drained out of you, so that you can fill up with more of this light that's really yours from your source. The risk that you're here to take is not insurmountable. It is a risk that catapults you up into the place where you belong. It is time for you to take your rightful place as the creator of your experience and of the higher and higher echelons of experiences that you are here to create for yourself, with others, and for others, as we move into a greater level of consciousness and drop, as I was saying, the baggage, the magnetic sludge, the magnetic debris that is inevitably going to be removed from your experience. But first, it is important for you to remember the experiences that you are about to drop. It is important for you to acknowledge that you haven't always, and this is a broader haven't always, you haven't always made the right choices, the choices that would sustain you in the ideal movement of your life. And when we say life, we mean the life of the soul over the lifetimes of your existence. When we say life, we mean the life that is intricately connected with the choices, the experiences, and the corruptive actions of those who have gone before you. Yes, ancestors are here, and they are here to witness what is taking place here, and to hold the space for you to understand that uh, your movement, your evolution, your expansion into the place where you can hold a higher level, a higher bandwidth of consciousness and light is intricately important for their uh, movement and evolution as well. You are the end point of their hopes and dreams. In their times, they were not in the position where you are to clean up the energy of the choices that were made before you. There are things within your Akash and within your cellular DNA record that have that run you, that are not actually you in your highest form, that are not actually a true reflection of who your ancestors were meant to be. And now is the time, according to them, that you can shift and change your experience here to be more grounded in those higher levels. The shame, the guilt, the obligation, the enslavement, the patterns of entrapment and manipulation are all part of the old human experience, which it does not have to be a part of yours. You can free yourself from those things. And what I'm seeing is like those three things, shame, guilt, apathy, and then they're going grief, fear, all of those three things. If you let go, release, but by accepting that this has happened, it was going on before you, but it does not have to go on after you. By accepting that this is part of your genetic inheritance, and then allowing it to be released along with all of the darkness, all of the debris, and all of the I'm seeing smoke and mirrors that are um, now being uprooted as you ascend into your rightful place as a divine human being, fully claiming and living within your divinity, your connection with uh, with what has always been your sole uh, source of power. Many of you have known this from the time that you were born, that you have this indestructible connection with Source, that you are part of the God field. And many of you have endeavored to be with the God field to the exclusion of your human existence. And we would like for you now to bring that light into your body, down to the earth, so that the God field can have its experience through you. With every step that you take upon this planet, embodying the God field that is you, taking the human actions that are aligned with your form and are empowered by your willingness, your ability to own your intrinsic inherent value every single step. What is this word I'm looking for? It is I'm seeing steps taken on the earth. Every single step marries the two together. For the earth was not meant to carry this burden that has been placed upon her by the past choices that beings who have inhabited her have made, the past negative, destructive choices. And every step that you take in aligned choice and action from a place of connection and awareness that you are the representative, the unique representative of source upon the planet, of your flavor of source, of the God body upon the planet, and your hands create the divine creations that are meant for the planet. This strengthens the marriage between the two and frees the earth from the darkness and debris that has plagued her and polluted her for eons. Hold your higher, raise to your higher frequency band. Let shame, guilt, obligation, anger, all of those things that you would rather avoid, give them their place, give them their healing, so that you can free yourself and for those who have gone before you. For if you free, and what I'm seeing is like us being the end of the timeline, right? And we've got all of these ancestors behind us, and they've made all kinds of different choices and have all kinds of experiences that some of them weren't good at all. If you free yourself, it affects your timeline moving back, which then affects the choices and the experiences of the ancestors from before, which then affects your future moving forward. That's really quantum. Wow. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. So I just want to thank all who have been here, this stream of consciousness that has moved through me, for the messages today. All right. Whew. I hope that made some sense. I don't have a clue. That was huge. You know, affecting your timeline moving back is, that's a whole conversation for another time. Hi, Vinaya. Welcome. Okay, so what I'm getting now is that there are like pieces of this that they really want you to be open to be receptive to take in, and to live your life with those little shifts that are going to bring to light those things in where there is room for forgiveness, where there is room for release, where there's room for acceptance in those lower frequency bands, so that you can unhook, release, and let that be attracted that debris be attracted out into what is kicking up, the dust that is kicking up that's being released off the planet. And the timeline piece, man, that is huge. Huge. That's a conversation for another time. Okay. Afraid to lose the loved ones as you move forward. I'm not sure if you mean ancestral loved ones or if you mean loved ones that are here now. Yeah. You don't ever have to be afraid of losing loved ones. Because on some level, you're always connected. And the only loved one that, the primary loved one, I won't say the only one, the primary loved ones that you don't ever want to lose is yourself. You are your primary loved one. And your primary loved one is always with you. And it's so important for you to love your primary loved one, no matter what, no matter who falls away, what falls away, or any of that. And if you're talking, Erica, about ancestral loved ones, you're not losing them either. You're just assisting with the elevation of energy, with the shifts in your connection, so that on a, this is such a deep topic that I can't even articulate it, but except in a very limited linear way, that they're not going to fall away. They're going to benefit from the choices that you make now. And that energy is always, you're always connected, you know, so you shift, they shift, you shift, they shift. It's really powerful stuff. But I've been talking for over an hour, and I'm really ready to take a walk. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for all of the birthday wishes, all of the 3,000 subscriber wishes. And I want to remind you, because I have it written everywhere, because I always forget, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel so that you can get videos that I upload. I'm uploading all kinds of videos all the time. And I feel like I'm going to be doing more of these live streams. So also share it with anyone that you think, these things with anyone that you think would benefit. And if you want my insider messages, like my insider encouragement and insider news about, what is coming, and also the next announcement for the end of my birthday, celebration. I've got one more little thing that I'm going to put out. Go ahead and get on my email list. Hi, Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Just go ahead and get on my email list. I'll put the link for to subscribe in the description box here, or you can go to sandyfreshy.com, and there's a thing on the bottom of every page that says subscribe to my newsletter. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And there will be more to come. So take care, everyone. Bye.